I'm James from J Technology, and we are here in CE Week in New York, New York. New York, New York?
New York, New York.
We got Cali Lewis from GeekBeat TV.
Thanks for having me.
We just have a couple questions. We actually saw you at Blogger Fair in Seattle, Washington.
Yes.
But you and John were very busy, so we didn't get a chance to interview you. So
sorry about that.
We saw you here. We might as well.
Okay, perfect timing,
yeah,
right?
That's right. So the thing is, we just started getting to YouTube and blogging.
Yeah.
So with the YouTube whole scene, like, how did you and John actually get started? I mean, did you look into the future as blogging, as doing the technology?
Well, I actually got started back in 2005 when podcasting was just getting started. Back then, we had to do our own manual RSS feeds. I had to code it all. Everything was manual. And the thing that back then was, it was obvious that video was where it was going because Apple was just releasing their first video iPod October of 2005. And so that was kind of, YouTube had started that year, but they weren't even really getting started, you know, like it wasn't a big thing back then. So that's when I got started, and John P. and I teamed up about three and a half years ago. He was really strong in the blogging side. He has a site that gets 1 million page views a month over that, onemansblog.com, and I was really strong on the video side, and so we learned to put all of that together, and we teamed up together. You know, right these days with YouTube and everything, you do have to focus. Our audience isn't primarily on YouTube. It's primarily on the RSS feed, like iTunes, TiVo, Roku, you know, all that stuff, where it's subscription based. But yeah, YouTube, you have to work hard at it. You have to know, you have to do SEO to get anywhere. Make sure that you're using those keywords and all of that. And you have to be interesting. You have to change up your video. Like, people's attention spans aren't that long. So that's one of the keys on YouTube for sure.
Well, when you got into YouTube, did you see a future in it? I mean, did you see that it was actually going to really something?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it took me a couple of years to really get into it, but it is definitely something people have to pay attention to.
Okay. And technology, what made you decide you were losing to technology? How's that? How did you get
Why did I
that?
choose this?
Yeah, was that your background before?
No, I've always been a geek, but I never really had a background in technology. But, you know, when I started doing the show back in 2005, it was something I knew, it was something I loved, I was passionate about, and that's really what, I can't do a show on celebrity gossip because I know nothing about celebrities, and it would be a fake show.
And that's interesting. All the interviews that we did in Seattle, everybody said, you know, basically, in other words, when you get into YouTube, you got to do what you're passionate about, because then it reflects on your community or your fans.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, these days, it didn't used to be this way, but these days it's really all about the real personality behind it. And so, and because of that, the passion that you feel for whatever subject you're talking about, whether that's quilting, babies, technology, skydiving, whatever, that has to shine through for the audience. Otherwise, they have nothing to attach themselves to.
And last question.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people nowadays that I talk to that are like, yeah, it's interesting because YouTube's been around for about 2005, 2006.
Yeah, they started in 2005.
And even until now, some people don't even know about YouTube or what it's all about. And when I talk to them about subscribing, they're thinking, how much is it to subscribe?
Yeah.
So
You know, that's a bad word that we use in this industry, a subscription, because traditionally it does mean a paid thing, a paid action. But maybe we need to change the term, or maybe people just need to adapt to it. I think it's more the latter that's going to happen.
yeah. And last question, since we got a lot of people slowly getting into YouTube, blogging, getting their own channels, what type of advice can you give people out there if they want to get into it?
Outside of make sure you're passionate about the subject. I think really the thing you have to realize, it's cliche, but content is king. You have to make sure that your content is good. And now that doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend $1 billion in production. Get started, do what you can, but make sure it's the best that your equipment can handle, best production value, audio, video, the best, the hosting that you can do. And you start with the best that you have right then and there, and you continue to get better.